What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream now. We're back after a day off yesterday, people. Anyone who's been watching the content, you know, man's been under the weather for a few days. The throat is cleared now, much better than before. You know, the honey and lemons dealt with that. Still a little bit, you know, of a cold, but we're there, people. We're back in full effect. Big up to everyone for the messages and that. We've had some brilliant streams over the past week, so big up everyone for tuning in. The England game was legendary as well. Nuno Tavares, the big dog as well. People have been calling him after his antics. But listen, let's get into the latest transfer news. Don't forget, people, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And hit the like button on this video. Let's do our thing that we usually do. Big up to everyone for tuning in. Let's look at the latest transfer news. You know what was crazy? I was sitting there the other day thinking, when Arsenal used to get top 4 every season, I used to think to myself under Arsene Wenger, 2 or 3 big signings and we can win the Premier League, right? That's what I used to think, you know. We always needed a CDM, a centre-back and probably a striker. Giroud wasn't quite good enough. I used to think 3 signings and we can win the title. I'm now sitting here thinking, 3 signings and we can make the Europa League. You know what I mean? It's crazy how times change. Like, all right, top 4, but top 4 I think would take more than 3 top players. I think we probably need 5 players to get near the Champions League. So it's crazy how times change, innit, man? What you're trying to get at one point, and then as time goes on, you know, back in the day I used to be embarrassed about the Europa League. Now I wish we was in the Europa League. Yo, times change, man. Who let the dogs out settings, man? Nuno Tavares, you know. Jeez. Let's get into it, people. Something got the Arsenal fans very excited last night. A story broke, and it was this one. It was the story of Manuel Locatelli from Sassulo. Out of nowhere, this guy got linked with Arsenal yesterday. Now, we've been hearing a few whispers that Arsenal have been interested in him, but it doesn't really, there was no substance to it. Man said, if I could turn, yo, what would we do right now for that top 4? We used to moan about getting top 4 under Wenger. That's like a dream right now. But Fabrizio Romano came out and said, Sassulo CEO Carnevali said to Sky Sports, Arsenal have made an official bid for Locatelli. They're pushing hard to sign Manuel, and it's an important bid. We will see. Also, Juventus want Locatelli, and we have a special relationship with them. We have got a new meeting scheduled. Now, I didn't get too excited when I heard this because it's Arsenal. Unfortunately, Arsenal make the fan base pessimistic. We take every story with a pinch of salt. We're being linked with every single player, it seems, in Europe and world football at the moment. But I was excited. A little bit of me was excited because I've watched him during this Euros. He's looked very good. I've seen him a few times in Italy. He's good. He used to play for AC Milan. Milan is the team that I kind of have always followed in Italy since like George Weah and Rui Costa and things like that. So I've seen him a few times and I thought, yo, you put this guy next to Thomas Partey and we've got a serious midfield. So the excitement lasted until this morning when the story seemed to change a little bit and the excitement kind of cooled down a little bit. Let me show you the story that came out from Charles Watts this morning where the excitement kind of disappeared. So Charles Watts said, on Locatelli, Arsenal sources have denied making any official bid. There's a feeling Sassulo are using Arsenal's name to get Juve to offer more money. But I am told Arsenal's interest in Locatelli is genuine and there has been contact between the clubs. A move hasn't been ruled out. So we're basically being used to help Sassulo get a better deal from Juventus. Now, There's one, and I mean one, little glimmer of hope in this story for Arsenal. One little glimmer of hope. A story came out last night that Juventus are over 200 million euros in debt due to the pandemic. Well, they've lost over 200 million euros in the past 18 months due to the pandemic. Player, shirt sales, fans being in the stadium, match day revenue, all those kind of things, over 200 million. They're obviously paying Cristiano Ronaldo an absolute fortune. They're paying Ramsey a fortune. They are in desperate need to sell players. They've obviously just sacked their coach, Andrea Pirlo. They've paid him and his staff members off. They've rehired Allegri. They've had to pay him and his staff members to come back. Juventus are broke, right? For the level that they are at, they are broke right now. Now, Sassulo want £34 million, around 40 million euros. For Locatelli. That's what they're asking for. They're not one of the biggest clubs in Italy. So they want 40 million euros. Now, naturally, what most chairmen of football clubs do when they know there's more than one club that wants a player, they'll try and play them off against each other, because what they want to happen is this to become like an auction. Somebody offers 34, someone offers 40. Maybe they end up getting 50 million for a guy they would have sold for 34 million. But the problem is Juventus don't have the money to go into a bidding war with Arsenal for this player. Juventus are at the front of the queue. Now, I've done some research on this story because I don't want to report to you guys and give you guys a false sense of hope about getting this player. But what it's saying is Locatelli wants to go to Juventus and Juventus want Locatelli. Naturally, he's an Italian. Juventus are the biggest team in Italy at the moment, the most successful team of recent years. They've got Allegri back. He wants to be part of their rebuild. The problem is Juventus apparently made an offer for Locatelli that was money plus players. And Sassulo didn't want the offer. They didn't want the players that were being offered. They've said, listen, we want straight cash, 40 million euros for this player if you want him. Now, Arsenal, on the other hand, have got the money. Interesting enough, Arsenal to rocking up have got the money. How will they pay it? Probably over long-term installments. But hey, Arsenal are saying we have got the money. And according to the reports coming out of the Locatelli camp, if Locatelli cannot get the move to Juventus, he is willing to move abroad, i.e. the Premier League. It doesn't specifically mention Arsenal, though, in this report. So maybe he's willing to come to England, but, he wants Champions League. I don't know. But he plays for Sassulo. Arsenal are a much bigger club than Sassulo. And, maybe he would be tempted by an Arsenal rebuild project. I don't know. Now, one thing that was interesting, Locatelli earns £22,000 a week. Now, I'm talking about it like it's peanuts money. To the average person on the street in a regular job, 22 grand a week, it's crazy money. But you know what I'm saying. For a guy that is being linked with Arsenal for £34 million, also being linked to Juventus, £22,000 a week is peanuts for a club like Arsenal. They could literally quadruple his wage and give him 88 grand a week. That is going to appeal to anybody in any line of work. If you're on 22 grand and I offer you 4 times that amount, you're going to listen to what I've got to say. This could be one of those situations where the player doesn't genuinely want Arsenal, but he is willing to go there because it is a step up from Sassulo. And like I said, that wage we could treble, quadruple without an even blink of an eye. Just to put it into context, we pay Kolasinac 100 grand a week. We've got the money if we want to do it. Sean Dyche said he prefers Italy, but money talks 100%. I think what we need to hope for is that Juventus just can't do it. The Juventus CEO said this morning that they have had no offers for Cristiano Ronaldo so far in this window, and, they want him to stay next season. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo is the player that financially is kind of hamstrung that football club. They're paying him an unbelievable amount of money, believed to be around £600,000 a week, plus huge bonuses. They've got a very big wage bill. They need to sell players, Juventus need to sell a number of players before they go and buy other players. Dybala's got a year left on his contract. Apparently, they want to renew that. He wants a big pay rise. Will they have the money to get this done? This may only work in their favour if they offer players that Sassuolo are willing to accept. And at the moment, the players that are being offered to them are not players that they find acceptable. Also, would a lot of these players at Juve go to Sassuolo? No disrespect. It would be considered a big step down. Now, what I will say about Locatelli, I've watched a bit of him. I have watched a bit of him in Syria, and obviously been watching him during the Euros. He's not a goal scorer. He's not an attacking midfielder. This would be someone to go and play in the pivot next to our boy Thomas Partey. He's not, a guy that's going to get us 15 goals a season. This isn't the attacking midfielder. Like you said, Aaron Ramsey, £400,000 a week. Apparently basic of around 250 and then 150 grand a week in bonuses. An unbelievable layout for a player of that sort of level. I think they got carried away on that one. So like I said, Locatelli, £22,000 a week. Now, Locatelli is he's 23 years of age. He turned 23 in January. Formerly of AC Milan, obviously a big club. Didn't quite work out for him. He made over 50 appearances for them. Only scored 2 goals in 50-odd games. So he's not a goal scorer, really, in that sense. He then went to Sassuolo, which was considered a bit of a drop down. He had to go and get first-team football, rebuild his career. He's played about 90 games, just over 90 games for Sassuolo. Only 6 goals in 90-odd games and around 11 assists. As you can see, 7 yellow cards, 9 yellow cards, 9 yellow cards. He does get booked quite a lot as well. He's played 6 times for Italy, scoring 3 goals and 1 assist and 2 bookings in those games. So he's a combative, all-round midfielder, deep-lying playmaker, gets on the ball, will put tackles in, very energetic. And now, listen, I'm telling you, I'm not going to sit here and be a football expert and say I've seen this guy 20 times. I've probably seen him 4 or 5 times for Sassuolo and, 4 or 5 times for Italy, a handful of games and a few highlights. But what I've seen of him, he looks good. He's energetic. He's good on the ball. Like I said, he does get booked quite a lot. And in the Premier League, at that quicker tempo, is that something that would trouble him? Would he get booked even more in a faster league? That's something we'll have to see. His club are using Arsenal. I mean, listen, this is natural in business. It's the first thing we'll say. If Juventus turn up and go, we'll give you 15 million plus this guy who's worth 10 million, equating to 25 mil, they're going to say, hang on a minute, Arsenal are over here saying we'll pay 34 million in cash. Naturally, they're trying to get the deal done. They may even want him to leave Italy. Sassuolo may think, let's get him out of here and get him to the Premier League. Raul said, happy Canada Day to all my fellow Canadians here. Big up, man, big up. And any Canadians who support the channel, hope you have a great day. Amazed how many people do rate Jorginho in the comments. He's one of them players, isn't he? Like, if you play a certain style of football, he can be quite important in your team. But he's not very glamorous, He's definitely not glamorous at all. Why am I seeing fans don't want Locatelli? Is a big upgrade to what Arsenal have. 100% a much better player than Granit Xhaka, in my opinion. Ali said he's going to go to Villa. Don't worry. It wouldn't surprise me the way they're dealing with us. Sassuolo have a good relationship with Juve. I think what it is, it's very different in these countries to in Sassuolo and these teams like to keep a good relationship with the giants of Italy because they may need to take a player on loan, this, that, the other. Sometimes financially they get bailed out by these clubs. So, listen, I think Sassuolo and Juventus will still try and get the deal done between them. But the one thing is Juventus do not have the cash. They are going to have to use a player to sweeten this deal for Sassuolo, and if they can't find a player where it works, then maybe Arsenal have an opportunity to get in there and steal a march and get a guy who has been rated as one of the best midfielders in the Euros so far. Obviously, we'll get a closer look at him tomorrow. I will be doing a watch along tomorrow for Belgium against Italy, so will be on a player watch in terms of Manuel Locatelli, because that will certainly be a test against the likes of De Bruyne and Axel Witsel in midfield. So look out for that. Personally, my opinion on this one, I do think Sassulo are using us to get the full transfer fee out of Juventus, but of course we'll be in the background in case that deal doesn't happen. And listen, all you can do is wait. We're not even in Europe, so we can't expect to be at the front of the queue when it comes to these type of players. Unfortunately, that's what you lose out when you don't have European football to offer these players. So all we can do is wait and be patient. It'll be a waiting game. If Juventus can't do it, I think we could swoop. It looks like he's on the move. Sassulo are a club that sell players and try and make profit. So we'll have to see in that sense what happens with that one. But I'd be patient with that one. Darren said, not for me. Locatelli out. He's not interested in it. Would he really want to join Arsenal? As I said, I don't think it would be at the top of his list. Omar said KDB is 50-50. Yeah, I heard. I think Belgium will risk him. What I was reading is Hazard was the bigger injury concern, with it being a muscle injury. So we'll have to see. Yeah, the GOAT is available for free. And I don't mean Curtis Shaw, by the way. Lionel Messi is out of contract. Officially, Lionel Messi is a free agent as of today. He is actually not registered officially to any football club. Listen, if I was some of these big boys out here, I'd just be making crazy offers to him. I'd say, listen, we'll give you 700 grand a week. You haven't even got to pay a transfer fee for him, you know? So, yeah, it'd be interesting. Arsenal will probably be linked with him tomorrow. You know, we'll probably offer him 60 grand a week or something and play him left wing back. But hey, it is what it is. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all well. Yeah, boom, Messi. He did say that. He won't come, Curtis. Waiting for Juve. Listen, I remember when Lacazette was going Atletico. I know they got the transfer ban, but sometimes these crazy things happen and deals fall into your lap. That's all we can hope. Yeah, I'll quickly talk about this one, seeing as someone has just mentioned it. Let me just read the super chat. Locatelli or Basuma? I think Locatelli is possibly better on the ball, but just because of the fact of what he does in the Prem already, I would still probably go for Basuma. But that's not necessarily to say he's a better player than Locatelli. It's just sometimes, you know, players can come. I remember Aquilani, highly rated in Italy. Midfield came here, didn't work. Sometimes it does work, you know. I'm not saying it doesn't, but big up to DJ E Fox. I appreciate the super chat, bro. Abby said here, Jadon Sancho officially announced. What are your thoughts? I'm going to be totally honest. I think that is a fantastic signing for Manchester United. And I did sit there last night as an Arsenal fan, and I'm looking at what's going on. You know, United have announced it officially as well now on their Twitter. You know, I sat there and I thought, Man United are buying Jadon Sancho, one of the best young wingers in the world, £72 million, 21 years of age, can play left wing, right wing. I think he'll be an absolute superstar in the future. And we're buying Who Let the Dogs Out for 8 million quid. You know, I have to admit, I did feel a little bit like, yo, man, I wish we were signing players like that. Didn't we move to the Emirates to sign players like that? It is what it is. But for Manchester United, I think it's a tremendous signing. I really do. £72 million for an English player, 21 years of age, can play left wing, right wing. I think it's an outstanding signing for United. I really do. And then I wake up this morning and all over Twitter, United are in talks to sign Rafa Varane for 50 million. It's like, you can get blown away in the transfer market if you're not smart. So Arsenal need to get their groove on, man, before they get caught lacking, which they are at the moment. Varane and Sancho for Solskjaer is an unbelievable start. So yeah, big up Omar Barnes. He said, Ian said Ben White for 50 million. Omar said, I'm a Jamaican and an Arsenal fan, and I'd love to see my boy Leon Bailey in the squad. He was linked with Arsenal a couple of years ago, linked with Chelsea as well, but seems to have gone quiet. Josh says, facts. Listen, we can only be real. You know, I want to see Arsenal. Listen, it isn't all about marquee signings. We've seen marquee signings flop at big clubs before, you know, Di Maria and, you know, there's been loads over the years, Shevchenko, all these great players, Falcao, who've come here and struggled. But at the same time, more often than not, you expect big players to be a big hit. Sancho is English, you know, he'll adjust to the Premier League fairly quick. I think it's an outstanding bit of business for United. The family said, big up yourself, Curtis. Just finished work, but I'm here. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's talk about Arsenal's marquee signing. I mean, listen, it's not about Lionel Messi out of contract. It's not about Jadon Sancho, £72 million, England international, Champions League baller. It's not about Rafa Varane, World Cup winner, Champions League, 3 times Champions League winner, La Liga winner. It's not about that. It's about Nuno Tavares, who let the dogs out. He's traveling to London today. I mean, I'm not sure there's going to be a parade. I'm not sure there'll be 20,000 people waiting for him outside the Emirates. Maybe there'll be a group of dogs out there waiting to greet him, you know, barking at him. But Nuno Tavares is on his way. Woof woof settings, Crufts FC, pedigree chum. He is on his way to Arsenal. Now, I have slandered him a little bit in the last video where I was speaking about him, because I'll be honest, that's some real mad antics that the guy's doing. But listen, it's a different generation, I suppose. I can only judge this guy on his footballing talent and ability. So that's what I will reserve the judgment on him about. Again, I don't know too much about him. I've seen him a couple of times, and obviously been watching clips of him and this, that, the other, as we all do. You know, we all go on YouTube. I remember when we signed Guy Arsenault, and I went on Twitter, and then I went on YouTube, and I said, okay, this guy looks like the new Adebayor to me. I thought this guy's going to be a good player. And he came to Arsenal, and we all know, mate, that guy, you know, the postman, was not particularly a top player at Arsenal. So I'm going to have to reserve judgment for this guy. The only thing that's worried me, everyone who I've spoke to has seen a lot more Portuguese footballers said defensively he is not great. You know, he switches off. Someone said he's almost like a winger that's turned into a left back. So he's quick, he's good going forward, but defensively he switches off. That is a worry in the Premier League, because I've said time and time again, the Premier League is the most unforgiving league, in my opinion, in world football for fullbacks. It's the hardest league in the world to be a fullback, in my opinion, because if you look at the wingers that you play against in the Premier League, you know, if you're playing against United now, you're probably going to have Rashford on one side and Sancho on the other. If you play against Chelsea, it could be, you know, Pulisic and Ziyech on the other side. Tottenham, Lucas Moura and Son. Arsenal could be Saka and Pepe. You know, Manchester City, Mahrez and Sterling. You know, even if you play Villa, you can get a Grealish, you can get a Zaha at Palace. Fullbacks get ripped apart in the Premier League. Now, someone said there, I mean, Greedy Man said, I've seen the video, actually makes noises. I mean, I'm going to try and move on from that. But someone said there, relax, he's just a backup signing. And I hear your point on that. But a lot of the time, backups end up getting in the team, bro. And let's keep it 100%. Kieran Tierney is injury prone. We all love Kieran Tierney. We all think he's a brilliant player. But he's injury prone. He played 27 games last year in the Prem. He missed 11. He played 15 the year before. He missed 23 Premier League games the season before. He misses a lot of games. It could get to a point where we need this guy for 15 games, 20 games of the season. So we are hoping that there is some sort of talent there, that there is some sort of you know, attacking and defensive quality that we can rely on in him. So whilst I understand people saying he's young, he's 21 years of age, he'll improve, we still want to know how good he is defensively. And can Arteta improve him? You know, can Arteta improve him? I'm only putting a football picture up of him today. I think I triggered a few people the other day when I put up his dog antic pictures. people saying, what's this got to do with his footballing ability? But listen, man, I'm only here to report what's out there, people. But hey, Zhao said, Curtis, I watched the highlights of Tavares and Lokonga, and to be honest, I'm more worried than happy with them. So Varane is done. United are getting a defender that cost France a place in the quarterfinal of Real Madrid. I think it's hard to just blame him. Kimpembe was getting ripped apart as well. I have to admit, Varane, I always said when Varane has to lead a defense, he's not quite as good. When he's got a leader next to him, he's a far better defender. You saw that clearly with Ramos. Greg said, relax, he's a bark up at left back. Arteta will not like his attitude. I mean, this guy, Nuno Tavares, was doing interviews, hammering Grimaldo, swearing about him and stuff like that because he couldn't get in the team and he was frustrated. This is in his own country now. If he moves to England and all of a sudden we don't have Europe, so we haven't got a lot of opportunities to rotate and give him loads of football. What's he going to think of Kieran Tierney? Because let's be honest, if Kieran Tierney is fit, he's going to play most weeks in the Premier League. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But Nuno Tavares on his way apparently to London today. Namir said, Curtis, he did apologise. I mean, there you go. He looks woof than AM. I mean, yeah. Oh, man, the antics. But yeah, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, of course. For anyone who doesn't know, Ainsley was involved in a crash yesterday in England. Apparently, he was okay. Apparently, his car flipped on the motorway, and apparently he was unhurt and walked away unscathed. So get well soon, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Hope there's no long-lasting damage. And will we see him back at Arsenal next season, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, or is that the end of his time at Arsenal? We'll have to see on the Ainsley Maitland-Niles situation. Let's move on again. Gabriel Magalhaes, our centre-back, was doing some agent work this week for Arsenal. This came up on Instagram this week. Renato Sanches basically put a picture on Instagram wearing some new clothes or whatever. He was doing like some sort of modelling picture. Underneath the picture, Gabriel Magalhaes says, come to Arsenal with the smiley face. I love that. These kind of things, I love this. You have to do it, man. It's all part of the game nowadays, you know. Gabriel Magalhaes has come to Arsenal. Now, Renato Sanches, again, it's horrible being an Arsenal fan because we've got this habit of any little glimmer of hope or excitement, we cling on to it, you know. Renato Sanches replies 4 minutes after, I'm waiting for your invitation. I mean, yo, Gabriel, reply. Gabriel, as soon as he read that, should have been on the phone to Mikel, like, yo, listen, Mikel, I've spoken to your boy Renato, and the man said, yo, invite me, man. Invite me over there. Renato Sanches, player of the year in France, not player of the year, in the team of the season in France for the last 2 years. Title winner this year with Lille, has been instrumental in their team, had a fantastic Euros for Portugal. Some people judge him on what happened at Swansea when he was on loan from Bayern Munich. This guy, for me, has turned his career around. He's gone to France, lifted himself back up, and I think he's at the point now where he deserves a move. If we're not going to go for Basuma, if we can't get a Locatelli, this, for me, is a player that we should be looking at. Vegas Gunner, big up for the super chat, said, wish it was Nuno Mendes. Wrong Nuno at left back. I mean, listen, time will tell. I did say out of all the players we've been linked with, we'll be linked with this guy because he's been on absolute antics. Big up South London's fine. He said 900 plus watching. Let's get the likes up, people. Can we get, close to 1,000 likes on the video if possible? Subscribe if you haven't already. Road to 30k settings, people. And we will be back with Euros watch-alongs tomorrow as well. Chris said Renato Sanches is a better player than Locatelli. Your mama said Locatelli and Renato Sanches both coming to the carpet. Listen, I'll be happy if we even get one of them. I can't see us getting both of them. Fantastic player. Renato couldn't handle the Prem. He said he was having a lot of problems at the time, and Swansea is not exactly a team where it would be easy to come to the Prem as a baller and thrive. Swansea were relegation fodder at that time. Brandon said, "What's up, Big C? Glad to see you feeling better, bro. Big up, bro. I think without Champions League and Europa, we are screwed buying big players. Messi link tomorrow. The Messi link is definitely on its way, with him being out of contract. Gabriel and Sanches is playing Football Manager. Stop trolling us. I mean, you never know. Those two apparently are good friends. You just never know, do you? But as I said, Arsenal, it's always more hope than expectation. MO7, he's matured more, Big C. I agree with that. I think he has. He was about 19 at the time, I think, when he came to Swansea. Joe said, big up Curtis, hope you're feeling better. History channel settings, you don't know, bro. Thank you for the message. HM5CS, will this be our best transfer window? It has to be. But I don't have faith that it will be. I just don't, because I think a lot of big players won't want to come. And I think I don't think the Kroenkes will release the kind of money that needs to be spent, unfortunately, I was looking at Chelsea. The year Chelsea didn't get in the Champions League, they signed N'Golo Kante. Let me just have a look. I think it was 2016. But they signed N'Golo Kante anyway in that transfer window when they didn't make the Champions League that season. And, players like that make all the difference. I mean, I'm just looking. They bought Alonso, David Luiz, and N'Golo Kante in that summer. Luiz was instrumental in that defense. Obviously, they went to a back three. He was very good. Alonso was instrumental at left wing back, and they obviously got Victor Moses at right wing back and Kante. So even though they're not the biggest signings on paper, those three signings made a huge difference to that Chelsea team, because Conte came in, played wing backs, Alonso was instrumental, Moses was instrumental, Kante was protecting, and they mashed the league up that season. So it isn't always about big players. I'm not saying that necessarily. You've got to get the right players, that you've got to get the right players. So let's hope we can get the right players. But hey, we'll see. Right, moving forward, and a story that won't cheer us up too much about a potential outgoing of a player. And that is this guy. Remember him, people? I think most Arsenal fans were hoping by the time fans go back to the stadium, this guy will have left and he will say it was all just a bad dream and it didn't really happen. But any potential deal for Willian to join David Beckham's Inter Miami has apparently collapsed after the 32-year-old demanded around £167,000 a week, more than double that of their top earner, Gonzalo Higuain. Now, Higuain apparently earns £80,000 a week. He is their top earner. And Willian asked for 167 grand a week. It was never going to happen. Were they ever going to pay that? No. How do we get rid of him? Maybe Arsenal should have actually said, what? Pay half of his wages. We'll cover the rest. Just get him out the door. I just think the fans next season, if Willian's form or lack of form continues next season with fans inside the stadium, I think the fans will really turn on him. Listen, I wouldn't personally boo any player that plays for us or anything like that, but I just think the fans will be really anti-Willian if they see him at Arsenal next season. Listen, naturally, the guy's on 190 grand at Arsenal, 120 grand basic with around £70,000 a week in bonuses. He's not just going to walk out the door with 2 years left on his deal and say, all right, give me 80 grand a week, what Higuain's on. He's going to say, bro, if I'm in the Arsenal squad and I play and this, that, the other, I get about 190 grand a week. Why am I going to come to you and take 80 grand a week? No one in their right mind would do it. Arsenal have got themselves stuck with a major, expensive, failing problem in Willian. 32 years of age. He was dreadful last season, and we could be stuck with this guy. He turns 33 on the 9th of August, 4 days before the season starts. We are going to have a 33-year-old Willian with 2 years left on his contract. And look at the season he's just had. Is there any way on earth that we can get more out of Willian this season and just use him as a squad player? I don't know, but we're looking like we're stuck with him. Play him in the under-24s. I mean, under 23s, you mean. I think this is an absolute... Yeah, I think this could be up there. Worst transfer in the past 10 years. You know, Mkhitaryan, we did at the last minute as a swap deal for Sanches. He was going for peanuts. And Mkhitaryan was still a talented player. It was worth a gamble. It didn't work. Willian, this has been an absolute disaster. Yeah, Willian moving like 50 Cent. Hustler's ambition settings, Curtis. The F. Come on, man. I want the finer things in my life. So I hustle. Man said, yo, I ain't going nowhere. Man said, what? You man better pay 167 bags a week or I ain't coming to no Miami. I don't care how good the weather is. I don't care if Beckham's the chairman. I don't care how good the restaurants are. You pay me 167 bags a week or I'm staying. Man said, I ain't leaving. You've seen Wolf of Wall Street, people. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Man ain't going nowhere. Wants his money, bro. I can't blame him. I can't blame him, man. As an Arsenal fan, yeah, cool. I would have loved to seen him walk out the door and take 80 grand a week. But just as a human being in business, in life, in football, who's going to do that? If your boss wants you out of your, I don't know, 30 grand a year job because you're not doing particularly well at your job, but you've got a contract for 2 more years, and there's a company offering you 15 grand a year, you ain't going to take that. You got bills to pay, bro. That 15 grand, yeah, I might be happier there, but I need more than 30, or I need at least the 30 that I'm getting. GGTV said for 1 goal per season, 167 grand a week. What is he smoking? Bro, he has his contract. That contract, that's it. Arsenal are in a mess. For me, if I'm Arsenal, I'd get him out on loan. I'd get him out on loan. I would say to Willian, we want you out the door. We made a mistake. We can't find a permanent transfer for you. There are clubs that will take Willian on loan. I've got no doubt about that. And you get somebody to contribute to his wage. Arsenal would have to pay maybe 50% of his wage. Miami want him. If they can only pay him 80 grand a week, the same as Higuain, take him on loan. We'll pay half. Save yourself 80 grand a week. What's the point? You know, there's no point keeping him. He's not good enough. He's just getting in the way of players like Nelson and Pepe and Saka. Get him out. I don't even, you know, one thing I thought with Willian, I thought he'd be a good influence in the dressing room. He's been shocking. I'd get him out. I would honestly take the hit. Dimitri said, Curtis, there are better players in this chat than Willian. I think with Willian as well, we kind of felt like he had no passion. You know, David Luiz kind of adopted Arsenal. I felt like David Luiz bought into Arsenal. Yeah, you know, when he won the FA Cup and that, he was like, I felt like David Luiz had a lot of passion for the shirt. We can criticize a lot of things about Luiz, but that's one thing I wouldn't say. And he was great in the dressing room as well. But Willian, I just feel like he's almost playing like we're doing him a favor. Yeah, I had to take his picture off. He was almost playing here like, yo, I'm doing you a favor. You know, he's putting love-struck emojis on Chelsea players' pictures, you know, when they're winning things like, oh, I love to see Chelsea winning. Nah, bro, forget that. When David Luiz won the FA Cup, he said London is red. You know, once a gooner, always a gooner. Who's giving it all that? He looked at it like, yo, Chelsea, yeah, you lot got rid of me. So, yo, I'm out to do things at Arsenal. Willian, nah, bro. Nah, Willian needs to leave, bro. I'm telling you. Willian needs to leave. He just wants to stay in London, probably. Find a London club and get him out on loan. Surely he could go and play for Palace. Give him to Vieira. Patrick Vieira, Arsenal legend, invincible, former captain, set to be appointed Crystal Palace manager. Take Willian on loan, bro. You ain't got no Eze till the end of December. He's out injured. Take Willian. Willian could do a job right wing for Palace. You know, we'll take Zaha off you in a swap or something, you know. But listen, get him out. Get him out. Go to Watford. They train next door. They would take a Willian on loan and pay part of the wages. Yeah, go Brentford, go Watford, go Palace, go to one of them. Again, as you said, man, Edu dropped an absolute disaster class, tying us down to this guy on a 3-year contract, man. I never understand. Do you know what? And I'm not going to be hypocritical. At the time, I thought Willian for a year would have been a half-decent signing. But for 3 years, on nearly 200 grand a week, that deal, somebody should have been sacked for that deal. That deal is an absolute disgrace. and we're stuck with him. We are absolutely stuck with him, people. So disappointed with that. Someone said their thoughts on Nuno to Tottenham. I think Nuno is a decent manager. I got to be honest. I'm not just going to do he's gone to Tottenham, so I'm going to hammer him. I think he's a decent manager. Got promoted with Wolves, then finished in a Europa League spot. And then, I think, didn't they get to the quarterfinals of the Europa League? Even last season, they struggled without Raul Jimenez. They still beat Arsenal twice last season, but I think their football went a bit stale last year. I think Nuno is a half-decent appointment for Spurs, I've got to be honest. But obviously, I hope he has a bad time there for obvious reasons. Like you said, Edu's comments, saying how good a player he is and we have to wait for him to hit form and this, that, the other. Bro, you didn't move to a league that you've never played in. He played like 7 years at Chelsea. I know Arsenal were poor last season, but we should have seen more from Willian at stages last year. He produced nothing. He scored a goal at the end of the season. For me, he'll stick it out at Arsenal. He'll stick it out. He's not going to go nowhere, which is crazy. So we'll have to see with that one. It does say when I click on that story that Willian does want to leave Arsenal after a difficult first season. And he has been critical of Mikel Arteta at times this season as well. So I really hope Willian finds his way out the door. It all goes back to Kia Jarapchin pulling those strings of Edu, unfortunately. Edu needs to show a lot more than just ringing him up to get players in this summer. So we'll have to see with that. One last story, of course, was Lokonga. Looks as if that deal is coming to a conclusion soon as well. Again, for anybody who's watched more of this guy, let me know. I've seen him a few times, but again, I'm not going to say that I know how good he is and this guy's a world beater, this, that, the other. The deal looks like it's close to completion. The club have agreed on a deal with Anderlecht. I think they're just tying up the last bit, which is the percentage of the sell-on clause, which is interesting because a lot of people from Arsenal were saying the reason we didn't sign Buendia is because Arsenal never agreed to put a sell-on clause into a player that they're buying. If they're going to sell them for big money, they don't want them to lose some of that money because they have to pay the previous club. Now it looks as if they're going to let that happen with Lokonga. 21 years of age, Belgian international, has captained Anderlecht. Vincent Kompany was player manager of Anderlecht and made him the captain. Kompany, of course, was a great leader, so hopefully he must see some qualities in Lokonga at the age of 20, 21 to make him captain. So let's hope he still is a good prospect. What I will say, I'm going to give you my positive and my negative outlook on Tavares and Lokonga. What I will say, first of all, I'll start with the negatives. Both relatively unproven. Both haven't played a huge amount of game time or really played in Europe that much. Not really playing for their national team. I know Tavares plays for the under-21s. Lokonga was called up for the Belgian squad but hasn't played. What I will say about those two in the negative sense, there's both question marks over both players. So we do not know if these two guys improve Arsenal or not. We hope they do. We look at them and think, they're prospects, they can get better. But we're not certain whether these two improve Arsenal Football Club or not. They'll cost around 25, 26 million between them. What I'll say from the positive point of view, if I'm being positive, they're players that are both 20, 21. They both have a lot of potential. They both have room to improve. Both very quick and energetic. Arsenal at times, to me, lack pace and mobility around the football pitch. Hopefully these two add to that. I see Tavares as just back up to Kieran Tierney, and I see Lokonga not as a Xhaka replacement, but more as like a Guendouzi or El Neni replacement. So I view him more as a squad player. These are just like the cherries on the cake. We need bigger signings than these. We need that right back to replace Bellerin. We need that central midfielder that can build that partnership next to Thomas Partey. These can't be the marquee signings of the summer. Arsenal have to go way bigger than this. So we'll see how these two work out. But as I said, question marks over both of them. But hopefully their potential shines through. Big up Jashar with a super chat, said, big up Curtis. We don't want Willian at Palace. I'm a Palace fan too. I came with righty. My half and half scarf settings in full effect. Big up Jashar. Even Palace don't want Willian, man. You'd be better off with Andros Townsend, man. Real talk, he's probably better than Willian right now. Big up my boy Theo Smith, man. Hope you're good, bruv. Says, big up the channel. Praying we have a good window. Linked with all these 50 million signings, but signing 7 to 10 million pound players, not looking promising. You know, the reality is sometimes it takes longer in the window to get big deals done, but naturally you get caught up in what's happening around you sometimes. So you look over there, you go, all right, Liverpool have signed Konate, very highly rated centre-back, got him early. You look over there, Man City have bid 100 million for Grealish and Kane. You look over there, Man United, they've just announced Jadon Sancho officially on their website. Done deal, 72 million. All the rumours are they're in talks to sign Varane. You know, I look at Sancho and I think that improves Manchester United. Varane improves Manchester United. It's a guarantee, in my opinion. A lot of people are questioning Varane, but he's better than Lindelof, no matter what anyone thinks about it. I just want to see Arsenal sign 2 or 3 players where I say, we're definitely going to improve with that player in the team. Sabitzer, you know, Bissouma, you know, Max Aarons or a Locatelli or, you know, Pereira. Somebody of those qualities, Maddison, you know, those players are certain to improve us. And I think we need 2 or 3 of them. Chris P said you can't rush genius, 100%, but are we genius? We are relying on Edu and Josh Kroenke, let's be real. Sabitzer or Locatelli, I'm a massive fan. We need both because I think Sabitzer is more attacking. But we'll have to see on that front. Big up to Leo Messi. He said he's smoking that contract. Spliff settings. Yo, man. John Layat said, big up C. What was Willian thinking? He genuinely thought he was going to get that kind of money. Maybe he didn't even think he was going to get it. I get the impression Willian's not that bothered. He's happy to just sit there and collect. I think Arsenal will have to loan him out. How long is this going to last? Need to cook breakfast, Tim. I'm done in about 5 minutes, my friend. Go cook your breakfast. Enjoy yourself, mate. Tim Smith, the legend in the chat. Let's bark when Nuno scores. I'm telling you, they got to play who let the dogs out if he ever scores. Abhinav said, you think Locker will come to Arsenal and reject Juve? Not likely that he will reject. I think our hope is that, like I said, rumours coming out that Juventus have lost over 200 million euros in the last 18 months. There's a potential that they cannot afford to get this deal done without selling players. And there is a need or not a need, but a want from Sassulo to cash out. They want to take 40 million euros. Arsenal can pay it. At the moment, Juventus can't. It might fall into our hands. Willian is Ozil part 2. I think this one's even worse, I got to be honest. At least we had some greatness from Mesut Ozil and he faded towards the end. This guy is completely useless at the moment. Can we get more out of him next season? I'm just looking at it. Worst case scenario, if Willian's still at Arsenal next year, can we get something out of him as a squad player? Or do you just see him as completely useless? Get him out, even if a club takes him on loan and we pay half the wage. The club might have to take the hit. Sabitzer and Locatelli would be like 60 million euros, would be fantastic business. So you know it's not happening. If it makes sense, Arsenal won't do it. It's the trademark, people. We know it. Let's have a look. Yeah, smash the likes, people. Can we hit 1,000 likes on the video? Over 1,100 of you in here. Big up for the great support and road to 30k settings. Salman said, I'm going to call my cousin, see if he wants Willian. He used to play for Arsenal and he just got a job at Fulham. Yeah, Fulham, they just lost Scott Parker, right, as a manager. Rion said, Curtis, where's Aston Villa when you need them? You know what I mean? You want to sign all our players, our Smith Rowe, our Martinez, when we want Buendia. Come and take Willian, man. We're happy for you to take Willian. Lampard saw in Willian who he is, and so did Arteta. Lampard doesn't have a job now. But saying that, Lampard got a good season out of Willian and then binned him. You know, said, well, he offered him a short-term contract, but he didn't want it. He wasn't willing to give him the long-term. So it's almost like Lampard baited Arteta into coming and signing Willian, you know. Damon says, big up from Sydney, Curtis. Good to hear you sounding better, G. Yeah, much better now. Ali said, as a Barca fan, why is Arsenal signing second-team players? Shouldn't you be looking into first-team players? I don't know, man. but these moves seem like moves just to shut the fans up. We're going to need a lot more than that, to be honest. Would AFC take Willian? No, we'd reject him, bro. He can't get in. Let's have a look. Big C, you need to leave out that we need a Nuno. You leave out that we need a new owner. Omar, bro, I made so many videos on it. Unless this fan base and everyone's going to get behind it and apply pressure, there's no point even talking about it. I went to both protests. The first one was brilliant. The second one was like Usher Raymond singing Confessions in the Rain, mate. Let it burn settings, 8701. So unless the fan base are about that life, there ain't even no point me talking about the owner, bro. I've made numerous videos. I've said loads of things. I went to protests, and like I said, concert settings, people. Big up to everyone for tuning in today. Thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow afternoon again with another show. The Wenger show is coming. I promise you on that one. I will give you the day on that one. And I will be back tomorrow around 2:30 with the show. I am recording Talk is Cheap in the morning. So I'll do this around 2:30. Euros watch-alongs are back tomorrow, people. So stay tuned in for that. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.